Good evening, hope all is well. Just want to make a very quick video. I've talked about this with a few people, so I just wanted to do a short video on lead sourcing. Now, this is on the client side, so if you're looking to obviously find information out on a client, see what companies are hiring, this is probably the best way to go about it. And it's one of the simplest ways. There's obviously many other ways that are more complicated, but this is probably on the ground level a very sort of easy way to find a company that's hiring and obviously can't find the suitable candidate. So I'll go into a bit of detail as to what to look for, not just potentially just building a list on the first companies you see. You want to kind of find a sweet spot within companies. So what I'm going to do is pick a random sort of title. You guys know I always use accounts payable for my examples. So let's say accounts payable, and then we'll probably just keep it in London for now so we can get some sort of thing. So I use Indeed because it's probably one of the greatest sourcing methods, and most companies will use Indeed. So most of the time all the jobs that are posted live usually are on here. So I just want to quickly go to the advanced bit, and I want to filter out all the exclude staffing agencies, which are other recruitment agencies. So you don't want to find lead sources on there. So what you want to do is you want to look for something that's full-time or permanent, which I could click. Actually, I will click, but usually most on here will be. So you want to look at a sweet spot. So in terms of sweet spot, what I mean is, average sort of salary in this area, probably about, from here 20 to 25 will be what I'm looking for. So for example, I would find this company, and it was posted about 2 days ago. Now you may or may not want to contact them because 2 days ago, and they're sponsoring the ad as well, which is another key point to look for. So any company sponsoring an ad are willing to spend budget, and they really want to find someone. Chances are that they're probably getting a fair bits of applications, but it does cost money every time you click one of these ads, I think, if you apply as well. So this company, potentially they either don't want to go to an agency and they just want to spend the money themselves, or they've been struggling for a month or so. It could be 2-3 months they're struggling to find someone, so they're just doing everything they can. They rang Indeed and said, oh, we can't find anyone, your platform's rubbish, and they've said, look, if you spend £200 with us, we'll be able to help you out. So in terms of how you'd find out if the company itself have been looking for a while, you could potentially search jobs, and sometimes on this explore bit it will have all their jobs listed, and sometimes it says 30 days, so it's off another source. So for example, Reed, it would say 30 days, so that company is pretty desperate to find someone. So potentially you could do two things. You can either contact them, or you can send a candidate to them through yourself, either send a speculative CV. So first thing I want to do, before, let's say potentially we're looking at the Marylebone Leisure Group. They're looking for an accounts assistant. I won't read too much of the ad, but they want an AT&T qualified person, 2 years experience, which is pretty much the norm with financing roles. So yeah, I'm going to go into their website just to check them out. So they seem like a obviously legitimate website, but yeah, they've got a vacancy section. So I just want to do my due diligence here. We're always hiring bartenders, blah blah blah. Send your CV. So sometimes companies list their website on their website vacancies, so you can obviously before you either make contact with them, they may have 10 other jobs, so you can mention those as well. So at the moment it seems like they just want an accounts payable person. So what I want to do is keep their website open just in case you want to make a call, but this is just potentially lead sourcing. So I want to just type LinkedIn after the actual name of the company. And the reason I do that, LinkedIn search is a bit rubbish. So yeah, I want to actually go into their company, and I want to see the size of the company. So again, I'm talking about the sweet spot. So they're a very small company. I mean, they may not have listed, there may be something else on there. So I'll go into this person's profile. So Stephen, head of operations. Let's see if it's the same sort of company. Sometimes it's listed a bit differently. So yeah, potentially I think that's going to be the company itself. So they're rather small, so I won't go into that example. Hopefully I'll find something else. And you don't want a company that's too small, because potentially they won't have budget. But you don't, like, I can already tell this company wouldn't be suitable as well, potentially. So yeah, they've got 5 employees. And what I look for with the small employees is I look for companies with about 70 to 100 employees. So if I go into this, the e-commerce websites are usually quite good. Secret sale, it sounds a bit dodgy. I know it's not secret sale, so I just want to copy that secret sale, and I want to do the same thing, type LinkedIn. Hopefully we can find a good example. If not, I'm just gonna, this potentially does look better. So that's, yeah, I would say that's a sweet spot. They're likely to have budget. They've probably got £1 million in revenue, and they might have an in-house person. So I want to go into LinkedIn again. So just imagine them as our example. They're an e-commerce website, seem to be doing quite well with that many employees. And yeah, apparently one person from my school was hired here. And yeah, so you want to try and look at the people that are there. And what you want to look for is either see if they've got an internal recruiter, for one. So just type in internal. And it doesn't look like they've got an internal recruiter. So your best bet will probably be either to the owner, who you'd want to target in a potential core email. With an e-commerce website, it'd probably be hard to get into. So this person, Michael, would potentially be the owner. Yep, I would probably say if you want to try and get in contact with Michael, probably he doesn't deal with anything for recruitment. He probably just does a final interview with the potential candidates. So when you contact him, you're acting like he's the port of call, but he's just going to forward your email on and say, for XYZ, deal with this. And usually, the reason why I would email the CEO or the owner is they would potentially forward the email on. They'll say, oh, I don't deal with recruitment. Who does in my organization? They'd forward your email on, and they would say, look, deal with this. When it comes from the owner, they have to take action on it. So they either have to get back to you and say, and usually copy him or her in, and they'll say, oh, look, we're not interested in working with agencies for whatever reason. Or they may potentially say, yeah, we're interested, can you help us out? Because the owner's probably saying two things in that email. Action this so people don't harass me no more. And also, why haven't you hired the person? So, yeah, it works to your advantage. So I would potentially look at a HR person, but the company doesn't seem to have. So I would look for operations. And you want to find someone like that. So Rachel could potentially be someone to contact. Yeah, I'll probably go for Rachel. Chances are for an operations exec, you could potentially actually, well, she's been there 2 years, so she knows about the company. It's not like she's been there 3-4 weeks. She'll probably know who to talk to or what to say. So you can potentially call this company. So I would take definitely her email, business email, and then try to source it out. So it would probably be rachel.gorman@secretsales.com. Potentially just email her and say, look, I found your advertisement. Obviously it was posted 1 day ago, but just for an example, I've seen your advert for an accounts payable. We're currently, in the finance sector. We're working with this sort of company. Would you be interested in hearing from us? So in a nutshell, that's how I would go about lead sourcing on a quality sort of perspective. Now, obviously, there's a wealth of companies. There's 160 jobs in this sort of area. But if you try Read, Indeed, total jobs, you can definitely find someone. If you do this and you pick out 10 companies that are in that sort of sweet spot I talk about, you can potentially get some emails back. So that's probably the best way to go about it. I wouldn't potentially start emailing every single one of these because, like we said before, some of them are either going to be too large or they're going to be too small. If you feel confident enough to go for the really large ones, but I potentially find this a bit of waste of time with those. So don't go for too small. Don't go for too big. And the reason probably you're thinking, oh, cold calling doesn't work, or no one gets back to me, is because you're emailing companies like the Marylebone Leisure Group. I may be wrong. They may just not have a LinkedIn account, or it may be called MLG or something like that. So, looking deeper into the company, I think it seems to be paying quite well. So I don't know in terms of, another good indication is that obviously it's just researching around. So with this, it's saying there's 650. So I think they're working as like a very small group that specializes in bartenders, and they may be outsourced to work as well, and they just got potential contracts. So it could potentially be that they may or may not be a targeted market with that. So they're very small, they don't have many reviews, and the review they have is 1 star, so potentially not a company you want to work with. So yeah, that's how I would go about lead sourcing employers on that. So I hope this helps. As always, feel free to get in touch. You can add me on LinkedIn if you prefer as well. So just type in my name there. I'll be happy to hear from you. And if you do want to get in touch, drop me an email as well. The link or the email address should be on my profile. So hopefully get in touch. Let me know if you have any questions as well. Happy to answer any, and get in touch.